What's going on, YouTube? I'm E, and this is Simply Put Sense. And I wanted to talk to you guys about a subject that's really been on my mind lately. It concerns clones. I wanted to basically probe this subject. You pretty much have two camps in the fragrance community. One group that is like,
I hate clones. They're disgusting. They're unethical. They're just nothing but thieves, stealing other people's ideas, and they're just horrible.
And then you have the other camp that is like,
I don't really care. They're cheap. And if I can get the smell of a really expensive fragrance for a cheap price, screw it. I'm gonna go for it. Why not? Bye.
I really racked my brain to understand why some fragrances are considered automatically clones and other fragrances, which are pretty much doing what the fragrances considered clones are doing, are just considered scents that smell similar to another scent. It's not given the derogatory clone moniker, and it's not a permanent smear on the house, and people don't consider the house like less than because they made a fragrance that's similar to another fragrance. I tried to really figure out, what is it? Like, what is it? And guys, I think I figured it out. It's all about brand image and reputation. For instance, the Middle East has a reputation for creating fragrances that smell like a lot of fragrances from the West. Therefore, anything produced by one of these houses, not named Amouage, pretty much is looked at automatically as suspect and isn't a lot of times given a chance by certain people within the fragrance community.
What happened with those?
It's a matter of perspective, because it can be argued that a lot of Western houses have been cloning Middle Eastern fragrances for the last 20 years. Middle Eastern perfumery has been doing oud, woody, balsamic, Oriental fragrances for hundreds of years. This isn't new to them. And I'm sure they're like,
oh guys, you're doing oud scents that smell a lot like what we do, except that you're changing it a little bit. So what is so different when we take your fragrances and change it a little bit and sell it back to you?
the real difference is this, guys. A Western brand will sell a fragrance inspired by a Middle Eastern house for hundreds of dollars. Now, when the Middle Eastern houses do it, they copy your stuff, change it a little bit, but then they'll sell it for like $35, $20. Perry Ellis is another fragrance company that has a reputation for doing clones. And when they do these clones, they sell them for a very low price. So you notice that a lot of fragrances that we consider clones, they have those two things in common. A brand that created it, that's got a reputation as being a brand that does clones, and at a low price. The real deal is, guys, when a fragrance is considered cheap, the mind automatically reduces that fragrance's value to a lot of people. When you spend a lot for something, it has more value to you. A reputable fragrance house can clone other fragrances, and it doesn't really smear them. It doesn't really stick. They can create a fragrance that smells like something else, and it's like, oh well, and we'll await the next fragrance from that house. For instance, you'll never see people go,
Midnight in Paris? Get that crap out of here. I don't want that stuff that smells like Bulgari Black, that hockey puck. I don't want the hockey puck's 30 seconds leavings. Who would want that?
A lot of people. They judge the fragrance on its own merit. Had Midnight in Paris been made by Perry Ellis, it would be considered a clone. It was made by Van Cleef & Arpels. And guess what, guys? We'll be waiting for the next Van Cleef & Arpels fragrance. Midnight in New York, Midnight in London, Midnight in San Jose. We'll be waiting for those fragrances. To be honest with you, people could use the word clone all day. It doesn't bother me at all, but it's just really interesting, what fragrances are we giving that moniker to? And the people who buy fragrances like Van Cleef & Arpels Midnight in Paris, or Valentino Uomo, or Original Santal by Creed, or Bond No. 9's New Harlem, or whatever other fragrance that basically is a derivative scent from a scent that came before it. No one really stresses it. They just keep on moving and wait for the next Bond, the next Creed, the next whatever. It really just comes down to how we perceive brands. And the other thing, guys, is at the end of the day, fragrances are made to fit into categories. A fragrance is made to be a fougere. There only can be a certain amount of notes that you should use to make your scent smell like a fougere. If I want to make a scent fresh, how am I going to throw vanilla in it? How am I going to throw leather in it? It's no longer a scent that could be marketed to the general public. Now you made a fragrance that is too different from what the public is already used to. They really expect certain things to smell a certain way. When they buy a fresh, clean scent, it's going to be difficult to give them something really heavy and balsamic. It's hard to make a fresh, clean scent with a lot of oud. That, I think, also stunts the creativity of certain fragrances in the designer world. This is really important to keep in mind, guys. And so, is it really that hard to understand if a scent is trying to be a citrus aromatic, it might smell like other scents that fall into the same category as citrus aromatics? No, not at all. The difference between Valentino Uomo and Dior Homme is not that far away from, let's say, the difference between, let's say, an Armand fragrance and the fragrance that they're inspired by. It really isn't. A lot of people, I think, see fragrances as art. I do think fragrances can be artistic, but I consider fragrances more like recipes, and therefore a lot like food. The formula of a fragrance is a recipe, and it's very similar to the formula of, let's say, a cook's recipe for a cake. For instance, if you buy Thai food, there are ingredients in Thai food that makes Thai food Thai. If you use something else, it wouldn't be Thai. It would be some weird fusion, I don't really get upset when a fragrance house says, okay, I'm gonna do something like they did, because maybe they can do it better. Now, if a fragrance house tries to do a fragrance and doesn't do it as well, it's not a good look. But I don't fault a fragrance company for trying to do something in the same style of another company, because I don't really get upset with the fact that every steakhouse makes steak. My choice basically boils down to, which do I prefer out of my choices? We should be, as a fragrance community, happy to have as many options as possible. Some people are going to prefer the option that's more expensive. A lot of people are going to prefer that. Most times, those scents are better. Most times. But then you'll have some people who don't want to spend half a car payment for a fragrance. Shoot, flankers smell like each other. I have practically almost every Dior scent and they all smell similar. I'll just buy the next one. The other part of clones that is a detriment, that's kind of negative, is the fact that it stifles creativity. Because if everybody's trying to do something like everybody else, they're not trying to do anything new. They're not trying to do anything unique. They're not trying to do anything innovative. That's the flip side of it. I don't prefer that fragrance houses do them, but if they do, I don't hate the fragrance house that does it. I think we all should just stop worrying about who's doing what and just enjoy what's being done, or not enjoy it, depending on your taste. Do you hate clones? Do you like clones? Please let me know in the comment section down below. Please subscribe and of course like this video if you liked it. And let me know what you think, guys. I'm really, really, really curious. Anyway, I'm E, and this is Simply Put Scents. And I'm Simply OUT.